Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most beloved franchises in all of gaming, and for good reason. Yes, the games are classics, well, most of them, but he's had several successes in television and the longest running comic book series of all time that's based on a video game character. He's even managed to get 3 pretty decent feature films out there against Mario's 1. The games are doing great now too, with Frontiers and Sonic X Shadow Generations getting really positive reception. But let's forget all that shit for now. How did we get here? Simply put, the Sonic franchise wouldn't be where it is today without all the groundwork that Sonic Team did on the Genesis. Just like my other anthologies, I want to look at the original trilogy and the games surrounding it. At least for now, anyway. Y'all better strap in for the Sonic Anthology. Sega! What is classic Sonic? Any Sonic game pre-adventure. Pretty much anything released on the Genesis, Master System, and Game Gear. This means that I'm mainly focusing on Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, CD, and 3D Blast. We'll be looking at some other stuff too, but these 5 is going to be our main course, starting off with the original Sonic the Hedgehog. And just like that, a legend is born. That's cool and all, but how'd all this come about? It's not like Sega had a fucking landlord they could take inspiration from. So before we get into Sonic, let's briefly talk about Sega. They were created in the States but based out of Japan. They had some early successes, but they didn't really start popping off until the early to mid 80s with Hang On, Outrun, and Space Harrier to name a few. Eventually they started making game consoles. One of which I've never heard of until I started making this video, but none of them have anything on the Genesis. For a lot of people, their relationship with Sega begins here. Contrary to what most would think, Sonic wouldn't debut with the launch of the Genesis in 1988. They didn't start working on it until 1990. For several years, Nintendo was dominating the gaming space, and at the forefront of it all was their mascot, Mario. Sega wanted a mascot too, someone not named Alex Kidd. I'm on the fence about this guy. Like, people know about him, so he's not technically obscure. But when you think of Sega, nobody ever really thinks of Alex Kidd. More people are aware of the Neptune existing than this motherfucker. They needed a mascot not only to make the Genesis more appealing, but to also showcase the capabilities of said console. So a small team of people came together to figure something out. In this small group we have Yuji Naka, Naoto Oshima, and Hirokazu Yasuhara. Naka handled programming, Yasuhara designed the levels and the gameplay, and Oshima was the character designer for Sonic and Eggman. Naka wanted to make the game fast-paced and easy to control. He came up with a prototype of a fast character rolling around like a ball. Oshima initially came up with a rabbit character that would pick up and throw shit at enemies with his ears. While that was pretty metal, it slowed down the speed of the gameplay, so they went back to the drawing board to find another animal. One that could roll into a ball. I mean, technically you're right. They came up with a hedgehog because the designs complemented the rolling ability that they were coming up with during the design process of the game. While all this was going on, Sega contacted Masato Nakamura, member of the 90s J-pop band Dreams Come True. His mission was to compose music for the game, which proved to be a bit of a challenge. The Genesis sound chip is limited, to put it mildly. It can churn out bangers, but the only guy at the time who could really get the most out of it was probably busy elsewhere. Alas, Nakamura cooked up some amazing beats and gave Sega all they needed to make some of the most iconic music in gaming. Elsewhere, Sega was putting up the finishing touches on the Blue Blur. Sega designed Sonic with a 90s American audience in mind. You know, the 90s, in your face, full of attitude with affordable housing, Between the three of them and the rest of the team, Sonic the Hedgehog made his grand debut in June of 1991, and the rest is history. So now that you learned what happened behind the scenes, let's actually talk about the game itself. You see, we got a lot of ground to cover over because we're actually going to be starting...
Sorry I'm late. I had to take a detour. How much did I miss?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hey y'all, Sonic's the name, speed's my game. When I heard that I was going to be in a video series about my classic adventures, I just had to participate.
Awesome, I have several questions.
Alright, go ahead and shoot.
Where are you from?
I was born on Christmas Island, and yes, I was born with the ability to go fast.
Christmas Island, is that on Earth or somewhere else?
Yes.
Okay, where are your parents?
Dunno, I'm an orphan. It's probably for the best anyway, I'm always on the go.
Probably a lot to unpack there.
Come again?
I found something interesting while I was doing research for this project. Initially, Sega was going to put you into a band with a human girlfriend named Madonna.
Yeah, Sega of America scrapped those ideas. While I do play guitar occasionally, I have never once engaged in interspecies bestiality. Look, 2006 was...
Hold up, we are not touching 2006, we're just here to talk about Sonic 1991. At least, not in this series of videos. Tell me about what happened between you and Eggman.
Depends on what side of the Pacific you're on.
The fuck? The plot of Sonic 1 changes drastically depending on what country you're playing it in. Or should I say, reading it in. Everything we know about the setting and what's happening comes from the manual. Let's start off with what Japan got. Looks like things start with a message from Sonic.
Sorry for being brash. People who are all talk are the worst. I don't do what I do out of righteousness. I do what I do because I love to do it. But I'd never betray you.
The evil genius scientist Dr. Eggman has embraced his evil schemes again.
Sonic, that annoying, cocky hedgehog. Thanks to him, my great plans are always ruined. Oh, but this time, I'm going to crush him with the power of my science.
South Island is a treasure trove of gems and ancient ruins. It's also said to be the island where the mystical Chaos Emeralds lay dormant. The Chaos Emeralds are a super substance that give energy to all living beings. Also, through science and technology, they can be used for nuclear and laser weapons, but nobody knows how to get them. This is because South Island is a moving island, and the Chaos Emeralds exist within the distortions created by the island. One day, crisis came upon the island. Dr. Eggman and his new crew have landed on the island.
Huh? I'll make sure to find the Chaos Emeralds, even if I have to dig up the whole island.
Dr. Eggman built a huge fortress on one corner of the island and embarked on his plan.
Eggman, you still haven't had enough?
Sonic rushed over after he heard the rumors. Dr. Eggman's harassment is a regular occurrence. He's been dealt with every time so far. Dr. Eggman seems to consider Sonic a sworn enemy, but he was never any match for Sonic. But oh my, something's amiss.
Look, Sonic, this time it's different. I turned the animals on the islands into robots. Everyone, all of these guys move in accordance to my orders. In other words, the whole island is your enemy. This time, the world will be all mine.
This is terrible. Go, Sonic the Hedgehog. Everyone is waiting for your help. Okay, so it seems like Sonic and Eggman were beefing before the first game happened. They're also saying that South Island is where this is all taking place. That and the island is constantly moving due to the distortions of the Chaos Emeralds that may or may not be hidden there. The American manual gives us this instead. Dr. Ivo Robotnik, the mad scientist, is snatching up innocent animals and turning them into evil robots. Only one tough dude can put an end to the demented scientist's fiendish scheme. It's Sonic, the real cool hedgehog with a spiked haircut and powered sneakers that give him super speed. Help Sonic fight hordes of metal maniacs and do the loop with the supersonic spin attack. Speed down twisting tunnels and swing over dangerous booby traps, leap across lava pits and dodge burning rocks. Then splash through chilling waters in an underground cavern, and if you're lucky, you can warp to the secret zones where you can spin around a floating maze. Your greatest challenge lurks in a secret lab where you come face to face with Dr. Robotnik himself. Spin through space, loop till you're dizzy, save the animals, and become the superhero. Be Sonic. Be Atomic. Well, it's generally the same, but there are some inconsistencies. The US manual also implies that it's the sneakers that give him his super speed and not something that he has inherently. There was no mention of South Island, the Chaos Emeralds, or anything involving Eggman prior to this game. I have my thoughts on it, but how would you call it?
I call it confusing.
Are you proud? Weird flex, but okay. I think the Japanese manual is the most accurate, and the Sonic 1 port of Origins kinda imply that Sonic has dealt with Eggman before, so that works for me. It's a simple plot, but it's effective, just like the gameplay. Sonic is very straightforward. You run left to right and damage enemies using your spin jump to ram into them. You can also ram into them if you press down the D-pad while going down a hill. It sounds hard, but you get the hang of it in no time. Sonic's sense of momentum and gravity are really important to the gameplay. If you fuck that up, you are cooked. Littered throughout the stages are rings that you pick up that act like coins in Mario. Getting 100 of them earns you an extra life. That's cool, but they also act as a hit point of damage, saving you if you get hit by an enemy or an obstacle. There's always something I wanted to know. What the fuck are rings? Where do they come from, and how do they work?
So it's like you grab them and they give you energy, but sometimes they're currency, or sometimes they can transport you to different places. Oh, but only if they're really big. You can also use them to reach high places if you stack them up high enough. I don't know where they come from, though.
Seems like the answers are everything and nothing at the same time.
Look, they saved my life. That's good enough for me.
Whatever. Among the rings are these monitors that can give you some power-ups when you break them open. You can get more rings, a shield, a speed boost, or temporary invincibility. Use all these tools across each 3-act zone and you win the game. Worlds are called zones here, and each zone has 3 levels called acts, which comprise of 2 platforming levels and 1 boss level against Eggman. And who better to tell us about those zones than you, Sonic?
Finally, some questions I can freaking answer. Green Hill Zone. What can I say? This is the most iconic first level in the series and one of the most well-known in all of gaming. It's a bright and colorful area with green grass and clear skies and blue water. It's a marvel of nature.
Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure rows of metal spikes aren't part of the natural flora here. And what about the funky-ass checkerboard dirt?
Fine, Green Hill had some work done, but you think that loop-de-loop just formed due to the climate? This is the first time the audience sees me take on Eggman for the first time in his Egg Wrecker.
Did you just ball out some dirt and chain it up to his Eggmobile?
No.
It's literally the same color as the ground.
Anyway, I took him down with no trouble at all. All in all, this is a perfect Sonic level. I give it 5 gold plates out of 5. Marble Zone. You know how we were zooming around Green Hill and how nice it felt? There's none of that here. Marble Zone slows things way down, and adds a healthy dose of lava to go with it. Things start off innocently enough, but before long you are underground hopping across lava and trying not to get crushed.
Yeah, I didn't think being crushed was possible going off of what was happening at Green Hill.
You're right, because here on in, that'll be something to look out for. The lava is one and done, though. It never shows up again in this game after this zone. Eggman shows up in his egg scorcher at the end, and all he does is just fly back and forth while shooting fire down on you. He wasn't much of a problem, all things considered. I give Marble Zone 2 plates out of 5. If not for the crap you have to deal with down below, I would have bumped it up a point. Spring Yard Zone. It's an amusement park inside of a city. It gives more opportunities to get some major speed, but it also has more traps and obstacles than anything else so far.
A city? I thought this island was mostly inhabited by animals.
It is, but I guess there's some kind of civilization here. I never actually been over there before, so who's to say? There's tons of ramps, springs, and bumpers to power your way through as you make it to Act 3.
Level with me here. How bad is this place? And why is it asking me to cope while I'm here? Should I be seething and malding in this bitch too?
I think it's just gibberish. There's other words posted up too, so I wouldn't get too butthurt about it.
Sounds like some cope to me, bruh.
This time you fight the Egg Stinger, and it's slightly trickier this time. Each time Eggman stabs one of the blocks and it gets destroyed, giving you one less foothold to work with. Pay attention and the battle is yours. Spring Yard gets 3 plates out of 5. It's a solid zone across the board.
Wow, we are halfway through this thing. These anthologies take a long time to get through. I should have asked for a co-host a long time ago.
Glad to help, man. Let's knock out another zone. Okay, Labyrinth Zone. It's not great here. Tight corridors, random javelins trying to jab you everywhere. Then you got the Burrowbots trying to do the same thing as the spears. But I'd much rather deal with those than have to deal with the mess with the Orbinauts. This one is called Unidasu, and he throws Spike's balls at you. Oh, and don't forget the switches. You have to step on the switches to open parts of the zone.
Didn't Marble Zone have switches too?
Yes, but I didn't mention the worst part. Now imagine dealing with that while being underwater. Look, I can handle most things, but water isn't one of them. I'm not a speed swimmer.
This place sounds lame as hell.
Right, so imagine being underwater, having to dodge spears, spike balls, and other traps while trying not to drown. Oh, you think it's simple. Just get out of the water, Sonic. Just jump out, but I move so much slower underwater. My jumps are harder to control, but you gotta figure it out before you drown. Grab an air bubble to keep the Reaper away. So you try to leave, but if you have to leave, you need to hit a switch while trying to dodge everything. So do you go for the switch, or do you go for the bubble? The switch, or 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 the bubble?
Man, fuck this zone.
Yeah, fuck this zone.
Okay, yeah. Let me take over for a little bit.
Please!
This time you just fight Eggman's basic ass Eggmobile. Kinda. He has no weapons on him, but to make up for it, you gotta chase this fat ass up a corridor while dodging spears and fireballs. And to make matters worse, a bunch of water starts coming up from below. Now it's a race to the exit without getting drowned, as there are 0 bubbles here. Better hope you beat it on your first try, because if you fuck up, you have to do it again without any rings. It's impossible to go back for any more rings once you do so. Oddly enough, it doesn't count against you if you don't bust up the Eggmobile before you reach the exit. This fight is all about survival. I give this zone 1 gold plate out of 5. The music is the only reason this zone has a point to begin with. Everything else sucks ass.
Put me in, coach. I'm good to go.
You say so.
Starlight Zone is a construction area in another city on South Island, and no, I've never been inside this city either.
I didn't say anything.
This area is pretty chill compared to where we've been so far. In fact, the only obstacle of note are these bombs littered across the zones here. They are invincible, and hitting one will only hurt yourself in the end. Better keep your guard up though, the explosions can still take you out if you're caught lacking.
Uh-oh, the spy guys are back.
These guys hold on their spikes, so it's best to avoid them honestly. Eggman brings his egg spiker to the fight. All it does is just stop spiky bombs down on the ground. Eggman's too high up to spin attack him, so you just use the seesaws to launch the bombs back up at him as they get close to exploding. It's a little tricky, but not too bad. I give Starlight Zone 4 out of 5 gold plates. It's easily the second best zone in the entire game. Scrap Brain Zone. Well, this is it. Eggman's main factory on South Island. It's certainly industrial.
I get the feeling you don't care for this one.
I don't. Between the conveyor belts, saw blades, electrodes, and just the odd geometry in general, I'm not a fan. But at the same time, it's the final area in the game, so it's supposed to be the hardest challenge.
Something tells me this won't be the last time you have a discussion like this.
Act 3 is weird as it goes from a factory to a recolor of Labyrinth Zone. What the hell is going on here?
You can skip most of it, you can skip most of it.
What a relief. I guess to make up for it, there's no boss in Act 3, so at least there's that.
I'm gonna give Scrap Brain Zone 2 gold plates out of 5. It's playable, but it's more annoying to go through than anything. Final zone. This is it. The last fight against Eggman. Well, at least in this game anyway. Eggman traps you in a room with no rings, meaning that you must fight him without getting hit once. This time, he's in a room with 4 giant pistons out to crush you while shooting electric balls at you. What's worse is that he changes positions every time the pistons go down. You just have to keep cool and BAM! Eggman is through.
Damn, he's fast for a big guy.
Not fast enough.
So then what happens?
I celebrate my victory.
Oh, I forgot the Chaos Emeralds.
Let's run this back.
So if you reach the end of Zone 1 or 2 in any level with at least 50 rings, a giant ring will appear near the gold plate. Jump through that ring and it'll take you to one of 6 special stages. All you have to do is jump around and navigate the spinning maze without hitting a single exit space. Each maze has one of 6 Chaos Emeralds hidden in it. Navigate the mazes, get the emeralds, and then this happens instead.
That's much better. What a fun game.
And you can play it just about anywhere. Sonic 1 has been ported everywhere, and most ports play without any noticeable difference, except for a couple. The iOS and Android version of Sonic 1 is technically a remaster and adds several features and some extra playable characters. The closest thing on console of this version would be on the Origins collection. The worst port of Sonic 1 would easily be on the GBA. Shitty frame rate, shitty physics, and shitty sound are just the beginning of the game's issues. Avoid this one at all costs.
I think it can't be quite overstated just how important not only this game is to its own franchise, but to gaming in general. It started a trend where there were dozens of mascots around in the 90s vying for Sonic's crown.
There was Arrow, Zero, Awesome Possum, Sparkster, Rocky Rodent,
Radical Rex.
Bubsy.
Didn't he die?
But I think he came back though.
Again? Well, that's a story for another time.
Agreed.
I think that about covers it for this edition of Sonic Anthology. Come back next time when we talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 2.